Welcome to Wind Down Wednesday. Here are your hosts, Jeffrey Tobias Halter and Amanda Hammett.
Well, good afternoon. Today we are continuing our deep dive into inclusion with a focus on the role each of us can play to forge and promote a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace. I'm Amanda Hammett, and today in the depths of winter, I'm trying to call back my favorite summer drink. This is actually a orange vodka and club soda with I had some mandarins laying around, so some pieces of mandarins floating in the bottom.
Very
Jeffrey,
nice. How are you?
Drinking today?
Good. Well, the chill is in the air, so it's a good time to go with red wine. So I'm drinking a nice Cabernet from the central coast of California, a Ravel and Stitch. So looking forward to sitting down and chatting with Minda Hart. Welcome back, Minda. Minda, for those of you who haven't caught the first episode, is a career development speaker, author, and consultant. She's the author of The Memo and Right Within and You Are More Than Magic. Minda is a professor at NYU Wagner. She's a highly sought-after speaker, guest on workplace and equity topics. And we are so excited to have her back on. In 2020, she was named the top voice for equity in the workplace by LinkedIn. So, wow.
Yes. Welcome back, Minda. I am so excited we could get on your calendar. You are a busy lady these days.
Well, thank you. Whenever you guys call, I pick up. So thank you for having me back.
I'm stoked. So before we get into the real stuff, the real topics of today, we have to know, what's your beverage today?
I know it's been a long week. So I have a little vodka soda.
Nice.
Woman after my own heart. I get it.
Wow. I should have gone with that.
We should have sent out a memo before.
We should have sent out a memo.
Get our drinks in coordination. Yeah.
There you go.
Next time.
Well, Minda, big congratulations on the publishing of your third book. When you were here in February, we discussed your first two books. What prompted you to write You Are More Than Magic? And what hope do you have for young girls from reading the book?
Yes, I'm really excited about You Are More Than Magic because I realized after writing the two books kind of for adults that, wait a second, we actually need to go back and talk to our young adults and have some conversations about skill sets and how we see ourselves and all those sorts of things, self-advocacy, all the things that we talk about, in the workplace in our day-to-day. But why wait till you get to be our age? Let's jump ahead, back and help teach our young girls. And I think it's a good book for boys too, and our parents on how to kind of all get on the same page so that we're creating young allies. We're creating, young minds who can advocate for themselves and be inclusive when they get to be our age. So it's a real special book for me. And it kind of completes the trifecta in terms of, the workplace work. Like as a teenager, I had jobs. I'm sure you guys did too. And so I even talk about what it's like to negotiate your salary.
I love that. Okay. So I'm a very visual person. And for me, I like to see everything and all that good stuff. But what I noticed recently was that you posted on social media a picture, and it's you with all three of your books. And you said legacy. Let's talk about the legacy of your three books.
Yes, thank you for that. It's funny. It was kind of an impromptu picture because I was doing a book event and they had some of my other books for people to buy and for me to sign. And then when everybody left, I asked one of the people there, I said, you know what? I've never taken a picture with all of my books. Can you just take that for me? And it really just made me think about the legacy, the work that we get to do to make spaces better. And if you would have asked me 5 years ago what I'd be doing with my life, I had no clue. But once I started to think about what was the possibility of me using my courage so that other people benefit from it, it makes the work that much more richer. And so to see these book babies out in the world to help change conversations and ideas and hearts and minds, it just really, when it's my time to move on to the next life, I leave something so precious behind. And I'm just really thankful to be able to do that. And our work is important. And so it just was kind of that reflection and being able to see it visibly, how important the work really is.
So can you give us a glimpse into the new book and really delve into this self-advocacy, along with some of the suggestions you have on how to self-advocate?
Yeah, actually, so one of the things that I find so hard sometimes in the workplace is, and I do workshops about self-advocacy for adults, right, in the workplace. But I realized that we've been asking for things our entire lives. When I was a teenager, I asked my parents, could I stay a little later out for curfew? Could I get a few more extra dollars for, pizza or whatever at the movies? But somehow along the line, we start to our voices, and then we think that we don't have the right to ask, or we can't negotiate on our behalf. And sometimes our voices get silenced. And I think as youth, sometimes our parents or our guardians don't have the necessary tools to communicate effectively. And so it might stifle their voices. And I'm saying in the places and spaces that we are the most, let's cultivate that. Let's allow them to say how they feel without saying it mean, say what you mean without saying it mean. But then, so how do we engage in healthy dialogue back with them and be courageous listeners, so that when they leave our homes or schools or wherever they might be, that they move into the world knowing that their voices matter? Because through much of my career, I used to say that my voice didn't matter, but it actually did. I just had to decide how I want to use it. And those are the tools that I want our young girls to grab hold of, so when they do have to advocate or ask for a promotion, that they're comfortable flexing that muscle already.
Yes, all of that. Yes. I think back just a little bit to the last time we had you on the show, which back in February. The world has changed, obviously. But we touched on this then. But I want to revisit for everybody who's listening today. What advice do you have for coworkers and managers who want to be better allies for women of color? And let's specifically coach it around like younger women of color who are in the workplace. What advice would you give them today?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because I think too, how do we usher in the next generation so that they feel included, right? Because sometimes we're having these conversations over here and they're dealing with some of the same things, just on a different, vibration for them. And so I think if we're learning to listen and ask them the right questions and show them and demonstrate that this is a safe space for them. So even though I wrote You Are More Than Magic for young girls to see themselves and get the tools they need, I also wrote it in hope that our adults and coworkers and managers who are going to have them as summer interns, summer workers, throughout the year as, volunteers, that we actually show up for them in the ways they need. And the last thing I'll say, Amanda, is I was on book tour earlier this year for You Are More Than Magic at various high schools around the country. And one of the questions that they would ask me questions, and then I'd get a chance to ask the students questions. And I said, what is it that you want adults to know? That almost at every school, but in a different way, to hear us and see us, that we have ideas. Don't talk around us, right? Talk with us. And it was so powerful, because those are the same things that we want people to do for us in our adult lives, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Minda, as we start to wrap up our, and this is the core of my work, do you have any special ideas or call outs specifically for fathers who want to raise daughters to be better self-advocates for themselves?
Ooh, I got chills just hearing that question from you. But one thing I do encourage is for fathers, grandparents, uncles, whomever you might have young girls in your life, is read this book with them. I actually wrote the book, Jeff, in a way that it has reading guides for both adults and children, so you can actually have the conversations. And so, for example, I talk about certain times where I had to advocate for myself at prom or, on a summer job. And then I have questions at the end of each chapter where you can actually ask yourself as the individual reader, but then if you're reading it with an adult, you guys get to engage in that way. And so I think this would be a really great way for, even if you don't have children of color, this is a great way to help build just allyship amongst your children and those sorts of things. So I think You Are More Than Magic is for everybody.
Wow, that is such amazing advice. And we're going to post that on our website. And we're also going to post information about you. It seems there's never enough time. We're going to have you back for one more round of questions before we close out the year. So, Minda, thank you for joining us. To our listeners, thank you for joining us. You can learn more about Minda and her important work at mindharts.com. And her books are available at your favorite bookseller. They also make great holiday gifts. And so add them to your list. And I'm going to do a call out to fathers to buy this book and sit down and read it with your daughters. So Minda, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to having you back very soon.
Thank you, and cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks again for joining us for Wind Down Wednesdays. a contemporary midweek discussion on current workplace and marketplace issues with a focus on diversity, inclusion, intersectionality, and equality. I'm Amanda Hammett, and on behalf of myself and Jeffrey Tobias Halter, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us for Wind Down Wednesday. If you like this episode, please subscribe to receive more episodes straight to your inbox.